Good evening. My name is Edward Sanshin Oberholzer. I'm the resident priest and guiding teacher of the Joseph Priestley Zen Sangha here in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. We're a part of Empty Moon Zen. Following the death of his infant daughter, the Japanese poet and priest Issa wrote, "This world of dew is just this world of dew, and yet, and yet." I had thought to talk about that vital Zen concept of emptiness, of the absolute. But the relative world reared up its head and has gotten in the way. This just doesn't feel like a conceptual sort of evening. On Tuesday, a young man, a high school student, entered an elementary school in a small town in Texas and killed 21 people, children and teachers, students and adults. And this, following in the wake of a mass shooting in Buffalo, New York, where a gunman killed 10 people in a grocery store and in a church, in Sacramento, where a father killed 3 of his own children and another adult, and so on, back in far too many places across our country. And I'm left without words. So another day, perhaps, but not today. So many lives lost to needless violence, and yet, what words of comfort, what words of reassurance can I offer in the face of this tragedy? Words lack the healing power we need, and yet words may be all we have. I could say that we're all going to die. It's a pretty straightforward statement that we all agree to, however reluctantly. But does death have any meaning? Does any death have meaning? Is the death of someone stepping out into the street at the wrong moment and being taken out by a bus any different from the death of someone fighting for a nation against an invader? Any different from the deaths of small children in a sunny Texas schoolroom? Is it any less heartbreaking for those of us left behind? And what of timing? Can we meaningfully say that someone has been taken too soon? Too painfully soon? 2,500 years ago, the book of Job gave us perhaps the most poignant summation of our brief lives. Man that is born of a woman is of few days and full of trouble. He cometh forth like a flower and is cut down. He fleeth also as a shadow and continueth not. It can feel as though we are, like Job, playthings in some unholy wager between forces too vast for us to comprehend. This world is what we have, whatever our longing for something beyond. Last night, a small group of us gathered together for an evening sit, and I was reminded of just how important Sangha is. No answers, no pointers, no advice, just being present together, just being one with that group, and with this group. But all those deaths, as consequential as they are as overwhelming as they are, not the deaths I want to talk about. They're not you, or me. This is not abstract. This is, if you'll forgive the use of an oxymoronic adjective, vitally important. Each night on a Zen retreat, one of us takes the role of the ghost and intones, "Let me respectfully remind you, life and death are of supreme importance. Time swiftly passes by and opportunity is lost. Each of us should strive to awaken. Awaken, take heed, do not squander your life. This great matter of life and death cannot be grasped unless we confront our own deaths, because life and death are inextricably linked. The 1940 Episcopal Book of Common Prayer reminds us that in the midst of life, we are in death. Anne Aiken was once asked by her teacher, "What do you think of death?" She replied, "Why, it's like when a bus stops before you. You get on and go." Brave words, but words from someone who had thought about her own death and what it would mean for her, and what it would mean for those around her. And this is important. We are not in this alone. We are, each of us, enmeshed in that great net, that matrix that links us together, not just as a community, but within the natural world. We're here for each other, especially when contemplating our own ends. Scrooge's nephew, the great bodhisattva of 19th century literature, called on us to consider that we are all fellow passengers to the grave. We need to talk with ourselves in the quiet of our solitude, with our families, our loved ones, our friends, in this Sangha. Perhaps one of the gentlest poems I know of, pointing out the way to us, is from the late Jane Kenyon, who bids us to let evening come. Let the fox go back to its sandy den. Let the wind die down. Let the shed go black inside. Let evening come. I don't usually seek solace in a God. Camus' benign indifference of the universe provides all the support I need, but I still love Kenyon's last stanza. Let it come as it will, and don't be afraid. God does not leave us comfortless, so let evening come. Isa smiles sadly, and yet. Thank you.